Hello, everyone. This is Maria Feekes, Executive Director of Adonis Fertility International. I'm so excited to be here once again on our Hot Seat Wednesday. Today, we have a phenomenal guest. Every time I'm saying phenomenal guest, but I just love all of my guests, and I absolutely enjoy working with Peter Hura. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Maria. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone.
Hi, yes. So Peter is the leader, Chief Executive Officer of a phenomenal biotransportation company, ARKCryo. Okay. I know you might have, heard of different providers, but we work extensively with ARKCryo, have been working for really many, many years, always the most outstanding results. I really want Peter to walk us through all of the backgrounds in fundamentals of the biotransport. So you really understand when you're selecting someone as a provider for such sensitive step of your journey as the transportation of your biomaterial, yes, whether it's sperm, whether it's eggs, whether it's, embryos. And guys, especially embryos, and I know every biomaterial is very important, but I know by the moment you came to your embryos, there is just, some families already have invested decades in order to create, those embryos, right? So there is no, no opportunity to replace if something goes wrong. So with Peter and his team, we know that nothing ever will go wrong, but I want you to be equipped with understanding of the structure, yes, and as evaluating providers, asking them questions, you really know what exactly, what kind of information you're looking for. Okay, so let's jump in. So Peter, before we even jump in into the actually specific and essence of biotransport, how did you even get into this industry? Because it's pretty new, right? So tell us more.
Oh, yeah, this is a very interesting question. A lot of people asking me that, and I don't know if we have enough time to talk about this, but if, in long story short, I started my way to shipping in 2015 in one of medical, very famous now clinic in Ukraine, as a medical courier, because this clinic decided to support their patients who wants to remove the samples from abroad to Ukraine, actually. So that time they didn't have any solution for shipping samples into Ukraine, and we decided to support their client. We started from shipping samples inside Ukraine, yeah, from one city to another, because it was quite fast. It usually takes not more than 2 days, and then till the end of the year, we did our first shipments from USA and Europe. Yeah, and talking about that time, I remember that I cannot talk about other countries, but in Ukraine there were not any rules for shipping samples, any set of rules how it has to be done, what kind of regulation might be done. So we were the first who was describing the rules for that as well on behalf of our
Wow.
experience, talking with the airports, some authorities in Ukraine. And we also have experience that some also authorities abroad connecting with the shipping, they also didn't have any rules for that. So we were the first applying, making some clarification in case, we received a lot of requests for shipping. We also had many information, for example, from airlines, from airport, like, guys, it's not possible. This is totally forbidden to ship samples. When we started to talk with them, like, we have that need, and there is no other way how samples might reach Ukraine. So give us any recommendation how it can be done in a safe way. How do you consider, for example, if you want to avoid X-ray, what kind of rules we need to follow, and what can be done from your side in order to avoid it and you to accept that. So we also use some regulation from IATA for aviation industry, and basing on that, we made our first set of rules, and it was approved by Ukrainian Association for Aviation Industry and also for reproductive medicine, and this is how we get involved.
Wow, wow, what a story. Yeah, so you not just, provided a jump in, you actually stayed at the beginning of really, setting those foundations for the safety procedures for everything. So since you start talking about, regulations, rules, and everything, bring us, I don't want to make assumptions how much people know about biotransport. I really want to bring everyone, to so-called common denominator. Give us understanding and the foundations of what really biotransport is. So when we're talking about biotransport, what are we talking about? Because I know, like, for example, even like, you use the word shipment. Like in USA, when we're using the word shipment, a lot of times idea comes to mind, like cargo, right? Like, I don't know, FedEx, UPS, right? Something like that. So is this biotransport or what option? So tell us everything, like what entails in the biotransport, so we really understand the scope.
Yeah, if you ask me about what is the basis for cryoshipping, I would definitely answer it as safety. This safety has to cross for every single step through delivery of samples. But this is like the task which works with the complex of other tasks together in order to solve the problem. So it includes general question about legislation. I mean, what is allowed in the country of shipping samples out? What is allowed in the country of import samples? What kind of paperwork needs to be prepared? And how much time you need for that? Start considering the program, the own program of the patient itself, and some other things that about using of this biological material inside the country, availability the clinic to obtain some document for the baby in the future. So this is like the complex, yeah. And before you decide to transport your samples, it's better to consider everything. Basically all documents you need for ship samples out, all documents you need for the clinic to receive it. If the clinic will be able to use these samples on their territory, and after that to apply for shipping itself. And if we are talking very, very interesting thing, like, most people think like the most risky thing is shipping itself. But from our experience, all risky cases might happen during packaging and around packaging process, which is also very important, and nobody even paid attention for that.
Wow, tell us more. Yeah. So
Yeah, because
like the type of tank that is being used, like what are those things? And yeah.
we're responsible for shipping but a lot of things is out of shipping. For example, preparing samples for shipping. It's very important to understand how samples were packed, stored. Did they label in a proper way, having a clear connection with the name of the patient, being possible in the future to check it by the receiving clinic. How do they remove samples from the storage tank and how they were packed to a transport tank? How it's done? How it made label? Was the samples, carriers of the samples protected by the cell? And does the receiving clinic knows how to deal with that, how to receive them, how to repack them carefully, of course, and remove it for the storage.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I'm telling you a very clear example. When we pick up samples, usually the courier cannot control the process of packing. I mean, we are fully and depend from availability and experience of the embryologists at the storage clinic. Same about repacking samples from the tank by receiving clinic. We fully depends from experience, knowledges of the responsible embryologists at that clinic.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. So yeah, for this specific reason, I know like when we work with you, we like to do full coordination where we triple checking all of those documents. We have accepting documents going before biomaterial even leaves the clinic. And then we're always checking through your clinic, through your team, just to make sure every single detail has been checked. And, like this evaluation that you're saying from labeling, from really biomaterial integrity perspective, everything has been done in a proper way. Some great questions are coming in. Let me ask you them. So when we are transporting, I'm actually going to ask the second question first, just because it's more generic, and then we're going to come back for the Ukraine. Okay, guys, great question. So when you're doing transportation, saying how many liters is usually the container for cryo transport?
Oh, well, it depends from the terms of delivery. If we have very short trip and we have just few samples, also from amount of samples it depends. We use the tank with 1.5 liter capacity, which can keeps the available temperature minus 196 degrees for 6 days. And another tank we use, it has a 3.5 liter capacity. We use it mostly for all trips, which might take more than 6 days, because this tank keeps available temperature for 15 days.
Okay, phenomenal. So, and the next question, and so also when you're saying take, so we specifically using you guys not for cargo type shipment, yes, but although we do have some, different shipments when we have like large volume, but we using the courier, actually hand carry courier. So when you're talking about this size of tanks, you have actual person traveling with the tank, correct? Okay. So then the question comes, I know you guys like specifically talking about transportation international. By the way, how many countries you working with like already? Do you know from top of your head?
Oh, it's hard for me to count, but what I know from our last report, it was 80 countries.
Wow, 80 countries. So
Yeah.
you're really worldwide. This is phenomenal. So when we doing transportation for Ukraine, you offering group transportation and individual transport. So how does it really work and what is the difference? So how long does it take to get samples to Ukraine, and how does that differentiation between group and individual works? And if there is any risks, that you see, so as far as to the integrity of biomaterial when there is more than one family travels?
Yeah, I will start from the question about terms of delivery. We have general rules. We have general terms for shipping according to our agreement, that we can arrange the shipping within 2 weeks after we receive all requested paperwork. Yeah. Very often people ask me how fast we can deliver the samples. Can it be done within next week or next 2 weeks? And then my answer is very simple. If you want to get it done within next week, it means you need to have all paperwork done today. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So I don't know how much time it takes for you to receive required paperwork from the clinic, to sign an agreement, to agree with the receiving clinic. But when it is done, we can deliver samples within 2 weeks.
Which is, guys, really fast. I need to tell you, like compared to other, transportation companies we're looking into, this timeline is phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. But it doesn't mean that shipping itself takes 2 weeks. The shipping itself, as I mentioned, usually takes up to 6 days, not more. So it just means in case we have availability, we can arrange it within 2 weeks. So you will receive information about possible pickup date and possible drop-off date. And the question about individual shipping and combo, yeah, we have two options of shipping into Ukraine. One is individual shipping. It means that we ship only samples of specific client. Only his samples. It is individually managed and transported from one point to another. This shipment usually takes to Ukraine 4 days. Yeah, and another option is the combo option, which is more affordable, but it is a little bit longer because we pick up samples of another client from another location who is also going to Ukraine. So this shipment usually takes between 6 and 7 days to pick up and drop it off in Ukraine.
Okay, okay. And then how does it work as far as the paperwork? Like, I just want to make sure that families know that there is no risk. Like, sometimes I'm being asked, like, can biomaterial be mixed or anything? Like, it's really impossible. So talk us through that.
Okay, yeah, our basic rule, it doesn't mean do we ship samples individually or a combo option. It means we need to receive a clear paperwork. We call it Form the Transfer Act, where is mentioned the number of samples we transfer, who is the owner, I mean the name of their patient, and clear labels all carrier. It doesn't matter, is it straws for embryos or oocytes, or it is vials for sperm. Until we haven't received this form, we cannot arrange the shipping. Yeah. And when we have a combo shipment, we also use this similar form. We pay more attention because we are shipping few clients in the same tank. But tank itself, it has a separate rooms, and every separate rooms is used for a specific client. We cannot. It is not allowed due to our policy to ship in one room to different patients. This is our like safety measures to avoid mixing.
Like additional safety measure because your paperwork, you have unique labeling and in a separate compartments.
Yeah, another option we also use, our logistic team, they are making this combo shipping, combining, for example, at least two clients with different types of samples. For example, if we have the client who are requesting us to ship embryos in combo shipping from USA to Ukraine, we can add only the client who has sperm with vials, because this is like additional option, because sperm and vials and embryos with straws is not possible to mix to consider, like it could be embryos, it can be the sperm.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So questions are coming specifically about Ukraine. We're gonna let's continue that route. So guys, if you have questions about other countries, because the rules and regulations timelines could be different, so absolutely could ask here on during the meeting. But also, if you have any follow-up questions, when we place an archive, we're gonna give direct contact for ARKCryo, for Peter and his team. Absolutely do come and ask those questions as well. So specifically if we're thinking about route USA, Ukraine, the question came, has there been any shipping delays due to the war?
Usually there is no delays, but you probably understand the situation in Ukraine, right? Because of military action on the territory of Ukraine. The only point might make any delivery is in case there are any air alarm within shipping. There might be some time that the courier can spend in some safety place with the samples. Usually we have a shelter. We make our road for the courier when he definitely knows some points where he can stop and wait till the situation is solved. Yeah, this is the only point where we can be delayed, but usually it just takes a few hours delay, not more.
So guys, yeah, and great question. I just want to add from my perspective. So, since Invasion started in February of 2022, first of all, we never stopped operating. ARKCryo was also the only one that they were doing transportation, for a lot of also biomaterial out of Ukraine and, then back to Ukraine, things like that. They were phenomenal. So no one ever stopped. And for this period, so since February of 2022, we had zero delays. Zero delays. Everything have been always planned so meticulously and arrived within timelines that have been allocated. And that's why we also continue working with Peter, because we know that his team will do a superb job. But let's also, maybe a little bit to back up to help people to understand, families to understand. In Ukraine, you do not fly directly into Ukraine. There is no flights. So all the biomaterial is coming in a specific route. What is it?
Yeah, also the similarism due to military action, there is no air connection with Ukraine, unfortunately. And all shipments to Ukraine, they're going through other countries around Ukraine, where Ukraine has a border. Mostly it's Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Moldova, Romania. But we built our way of shipping through Slovakia, and I will try to explain why for Slovakia, because for Slovakia is on the west of Ukraine, and this part of Ukraine has the most safety area in the country for now. Yeah, and all shipments of the samples, they're crossing border on the west between Slovakia and Ukraine. And also custom clearance we do there. And only after that, the courier continued the trip to Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, if you are talking about Kyiv, because there are some cities we still cannot make shipments. For example, ARKCryo, Kherson is too dangerous there.
And we don't operate there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So we make that until once we made all custom clearance and once the courier arrived in Ukraine, on that west part of Ukraine, to make the time of delivery not more than 8 hours before drop off in Kyiv. And all this 8 hours, our courier is moving with the car on the way to drop off point in Kyiv. So this is one of the also safety measures for us to avoid any possible dangers on the way.
Yes, absolutely. And you also have, like in Slovakia, you have your recharging station, right? Because, the making sure that the full tank was liquid nitrogen, you have the temperature control, pressure control, all of that is performed as well. Okay, that's phenomenal. A great question came. How do you plan with the airports or airlines to prevent the cryopreservation container from passing through it's a C-rays, X-rays, right?
Yeah, good question. A week before as you remember, I mentioned on the beginning 2 weeks that we need 2 weeks to arrange the shipment. So it means that sometime I also received that question why we need to those 2 weeks, why we cannot arrange the shipping next week, for example. I explain everyone that this time is needed in order to clarify everything with airports, airlines, customs. So we inform them in advance before we will even pick up the samples. So we usually sending information about the courier, our medical license, our approval that we are going to ship samples from one clinic in, for example, in USA or in another country, and information about a flight number and departure time. Once we receive approval from, if we are talking about USA, from TCA at the airport, we are good to go. They are aware about our case. We are good to go. We confirm we will be able to pick up the samples and proceed through that airport. Same about arrival airports and transit airports. We inform them in advance. Usually it is 1 week before. So even for some reason we might receive refused to proceed through X-ray, only X-ray, so we will use another airport which has availability to avoid X-ray, because not all airports they have those system they can use alternatively to X-ray. So this is the answer, and I'm really clear because not all airports in USA, some small airports, they don't have that possibility. So we use nearest possible one for departure, and thankfully to USA Air Connection, they usually have other big airports from every. I don't know if you noticed that, but it is really true. They have it not more than 3 hours away from the small airport usually.
Yeah, no, this is phenomenal. So yeah, like you guys, as you could see, there is a lot of due diligence comes and a lot of, work on the background that is happening that the BioCourier is biotransportation company is working on. With that, I kind of actually want to ask you a question. We don't get it like, every day, but we do get it sometimes because again, cost of the biotransport, I mean, it's no matter what, it's not cheap, right? It's as we said, but what you're paying for is so worth it. Yes. But families, of course, we understand many families are trying to minimize expenses as much as possible because you already might have spent so much money in your fertility journey just trying to get to the point of your biomaterial. So they're asking, like, can we do it by ourselves, right? Like, can we rent a tank, come to the clinic, fill out the paperwork, and do the biotransport ourselves? So from what you are saying, is it possible? Knowing, yes, like which airport to go through, how to get all of this arrangement with customs and so forth. But, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would answer that, this is the way to make your fertility journey even more stressful as it was before to decide to ship it by yourself. But this is also a very point for everyone to consider because I don't have any experience. I don't know anyone who is shipping it before. Maybe some cases occurred, yeah, before, but usually in order to ship samples out of one country to another, there are a lot of paperwork that airports and airlines asking a shipping company to provide, such as medical license, such as authorization that the person who is shipping samples is a really medical courier. The medical courier use like specific certified containers with equipment for shipping. So I cannot even imagine how the physical person, private person, the patient can provide all this paperwork.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, guys, if you're ever considering doing it by yourself, I would say at least contact the company. I know Peter has been on some of the calls with some of the families like that. At least ask questions, right? So know what
Yeah.
you're getting into.
Sorry interrupting you. And also another thing that nobody even asking themselves about this. They don't even understand if some situation like flight cancellation or some question of the customs might occur, and the patient doesn't have experience, doesn't have information for that. What they're gonna do? How they're gonna solve? What can be done? So I do. I think it's more reasonable to give this chance to people who has experience and know how to deal with all these authorities.
Yes, yes. Well, then that's what we're talking to you to really understand the subject. Next question is there is a limit to the number of embryos per person to send?
No, I always ask we can transfer as much as needed. Yeah, but it only depends what kind of tank we need to use. There was a question of the beginning. If there are some small amount of samples, we will use the container with 1.5 liter capacity. And if there are a lot of samples, we will use the bigger tank.
Okay. Could you maybe give us a range? Because what you're saying, small, big, for family, maybe 2 embryos is big number. Like what are we talking about when you're talking quantities?
Yeah, if we are talking about the container with 1.5 liter capacity, it can include 3 cans where it can be placed as 3 visa tubes and probably about 21 straws with embryos or oocytes in total. It depends how many embryos is frozen per straw, because some clinics they froze 1 embryo, other clinics 2 embryos. I can just tell you about straws. There can be 21 straws with doesn't matter with embryos or with oocytes or with sperm. And if we are talking about vials, which we mostly use for sperm, there can be 9 vials in total in that tank. And in a bigger one can be placed at around 15 cans, yeah, with the tubes. Can be 120 straws in total can be shipped and 80 vials with sperm.
Okay, okay, all right, that makes sense. Well, and guys, if you have more questions, please ask. One more question I want to ask you. Like, I was always curious because again, like when we're evaluating prices and terms of other companies, there is a like huge difference between you guys and others. What and I know that there is also sometimes misconception, that if you pay small amount, well, again, considerably, right? It's still big, but compared to others, that may be like, where you're cutting corners, or or you pay for what you get, right? Or you get what you pay, things like this. So what allows you, and yet like over and over when I'm introducing you to our families, I'm saying, guys, like they're extremely cost effective, they're efficient, with outstanding results. Like I cannot tell enough how happy we are with every single delivery that you have done for us, how happy our customers are. So what allows you to be cost effective, efficient, while, maintaining this huge, really outstanding results?
Yeah, it's also a good question. I cannot compare our salaries with the others. And to be honest, I don't know all prices of our competitors, but the way how we build our pricing, we're always considering a possibility to reduce our expenses for shipping, because reducing our expenses also making our price affordable also for our clients. For example, last year, we make an additional hub with you in the USA, with the possibility to charge and prepare all our equipment in USA, and for the couriers for all orders, shipping, for example, from USA to Europe, starting the trips from USA directly to European Union. Before it was our courier was starting the trip from European Union, travel to USA and back into European Union, looks like that. So we always build, we already have few hubs in USA, in Europe, in Slovakia, in Ukraine, and now we're starting to work for the hub in also in Argentina. So it helped us reduce our pricing. Another thing, as you mentioned, we for some direction we clear understand that the price might be very high. For example, for shipping from USA to Ukraine, we always offer combo and individual option. It also help us to have a very good prices for shipping.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate, because again, for families, any penny, any dollar that could be saved, it goes a long way. So thank you for looking for those options. Okay, well, for the future, yes. So what are your guys's, what are some maybe countries or anything else that you're looking for that you don't have on your list yet? What are some new developments, just in case families are looking?
We this year we started to develop to work very actively with all countries in Africa. So we
Oh,
already
wow.
have option for shipping to Nigeria, to Ghana, also working with other countries in Africa. Last year it was Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, this is our direction for this year.
Thank you. Thank you for connecting world the more and more, because fertility services definitely need that. Very good question came in. What is your success rate of transporting? Have any embryos been lost?
Oh, yeah, very good question, to be honest. We don't have any cases of embryos being lost during shipping because of our presence of our courier during the whole trip. So it means when the courier, I'm talking about hand carry shipping. Yeah, in hand carry shipping, our courier can control the pickup and drop off. It means the courier was present during pickup and drop off. Yeah, we only had, as I remember, two cases when container samples being stuck at the airport, but it was cargo shipping. Yeah, so before to proceed with the cargo, I always inform all clients about possible risks, because in cargo shipping, it means we cannot control that. We fully depends from airlines and how fast they will clear the customs were clear with the luggage and how fast it will be delivered. So, now very often in Ukraine, we don't even accept this option because, Ukraine is not possible to reach by the air. And for very long deliveries like USA, Australia, we also inform the client that the whole shipping time might be 10 days. So it's better, this option might be acceptable, for example, for shipping sperm, but definitely not for embryos and oocytes.
I see. Thank you so much. So yeah, we all of our families, we're using only hand carry courier with ARKCryo, and again, like in our practice, we have not had a single failed transportation. Yes, and guys, I'm not talking just being lost, like physically lost, right? It never happened, but also that the biomaterials suffered in the process of transportation. So when we're doing thawing of your biomaterial, we also, our embryologist is taking pictures, right, is reporting to you. Not a single time, guys, we had a failure through the accepted biomaterial from other clinics. So I think that also speaks volumes to the level of work that is being done. And that's why, once again, we are happy to recommend someone like ARKCryo for this very sensitive step of your journey. Okay. Anything else, Peter, that maybe we have not shared or that you really wanted to make sure? Oh, one question, since we did talk about, the risks in the last questions, I think in your program, you do have some type of warranties or insurances that are included in your contract. Would you share that?
Yeah, we have also insurance option for shipping samples. For during the shipping, and basically we have for individual shipping we have for two option. It is $10,000 coverage and also $25,000 coverage. For combo shipping, the coverage is less. It's $6,000 coverage for combo shipping.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. So guys, those options are there as well. But again, they're not because, we want to exercise that. I think it's for your additional peace of mind. But really, ultimately, when Peter started and he was saying that safety is a number one throughout all steps of the process, because they don't want to reach that point ever. And we have not reached this point with them either. And, we want to continue the same way where if you wish to purchase this additional insurance warranty, you can, but our goal is that you never need to execute that portion of agreement. Okay. So yeah, so Peter, any last comments for the families who are in the process, considering transport, anything?
Yeah, I would just add about this question about risk, and the success rate. That in order to avoid any problem of samples to be lost, we are asking to fill in that form transfer agricole where I mentioned labels. And it means that the courier who is bringing sample, he always bring that form. And that form is very important for us because this is like a general document for receiving clinic to understand they are accepting the right samples of the right person. So once they did it, they sign our bill of lading form confirming they received the proper samples. Without this form, the courier will not leave the clinic. So this is about packing samples inside and shipping, and when somebody is taking samples out.
Yeah.
This general rule for both processes. What else to add? To make your journey less stress and make stress free, I always recommend you to start with searching all information about your the regulation of the clinic of the country where is the storage clinic, regulation of the country of the receiving clinic. If you are confused to decide to ship cargo or hand carry, I'll always tell you that better to proceed with a hand carry, but cargo is also acceptable. The only thing you need to understand, the value of your samples for you. If you have, for example, your last embryos and you are fully afraid of shipping it without any control, proceed with the cargo. If you have enough oocytes and you are not worrying to have more oocytes in the
Proceed with the
future,
hand carry. In the previous one, proceed with the hand carry.
yes.
Mhm.
If, for example, if you have just sperm samples, you're not very worried about the sperm, you might consider the cargo shipping as well. Yeah, if you're worrying about embryo shipping as a hand carry, and you have few embryos, you might ship at first one part of embryos, then another part of embryos. This is some small steps which help you to make a right decision. If you're not sure to ship samples to the country where you're not familiar with every rules, you don't have clear answer on your questions about possible future documents for your baby, for your treatment, better to consider another country. This is a very simple answer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And thank you also. I know that whenever our families had questions, you were phenomenal about, scheduling meetings, answering any questions, helping once again, and, investigate and look into all of these regulations. So guys, yeah, we will have contact for Peter and his team, and you have this resource for you. And hopefully, yeah, good luck. Good luck with your journeys. Good luck with your step. No matter which country you going into or your destination. So we're wishing you best of luck and success. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, Maria. Yeah, thank you everyone who has been here. I wish you to reach your samples to Ukraine safely, carefully, and on time. And we are here to help you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.